Keys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Girlfriend Hour. I'm your host, your ghost host, Morgan Fezza.
And I'm your hostess with the ghostesses, Rachel Foust. I feel like mine's just going to be different every time. That's what
I
it
feel
is.
like that's funny, though. Like, I feel like
I
we
feel
definitely should
like
keep that.
just whatever comes out, comes out.
I'm like, hi, I'm Rachel. I feel like a toaster today. So
Yeah.
we're going to go
If
with
it rhymes
the,
with ghost,
the
we're,
ghoster with the toaster.
yeah.
Next week, it'll be the ghost with the toast.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it rolling.
Over here roasting ghosts.
Yeah, see? We'll just keep. Wait, so me and Matt watched Scary Movie. Like, we haven't watched that in forever. We watched the third one, I think it is. You know, when he's like making fun of Eminem.
I think so. It's been a long, long time since I've seen those.
It's that one made like honestly, like some of it I look back, I'm like, oh, my used to be favorite parts are like so cringy now. But then there were other ones that like as an adult, I was like literally peeing my pants because I was like so embarrassed for them. And like what made me think of that is like we're sitting here like rhyming and like freaking George. Like he doesn't have like a rapper name. They're like that his name's George. And so they're like, oh, here comes George. And like he's just like I can't even like recreate it, but he was just like would, could, should, could. Like and he's just that's what he just sounded like. I'm like, that's
Yep.
us.
Everything has to rhyme with ghosts, so might as well.
Might as well just come up with a list.
Might as well.
So we're having I'm gonna pray that we make it through this episode without losing power. Because we pissed somebody off upstairs because the wind's gonna just rip the roof of our house off.
It's flowing.
Yeah.
I
We're
think I
just
saw that New Jersey's in like a state of emergency.
New Jersey is just absolutely exponentially fucked right now. But I don't know if it's like the 10 inches of snow that they got, the fact that they're supposed to get like freezing rain and now they're having like hurricane
I
winds.
just
Like,
don't
I'm
deserve
like,
it.
I don't understand how we're only 3 hours away and our weather is just so different.
I just wish it was snow. I just need one good snow.
I did say that.
Enough of it.
I did feel that because I
Doesn't
used
have
to
to be
like hate
anything
snow, but now I'm
crazy.
like,
Just one good stay home snow day. That's what I
yes,
want.
like soft, pretty snow that
Hmm.
we can enjoy that doesn't like freeze.
No, because we had not last year, the year before when we had that really bad storm and it was like ice and horrible and we
Oh
were out of
yeah.
power forever.
That
Forever.
that did suck. And then there was the when we lived in Lewis, so it was like when I first moved here. So this is probably like what, 5 years or 6 years ago. It was like when I first moved here, you guys like had like a blizzard. Like it was like a lot of snow. And
I
I
just
like
remember sitting in my truck charging my phone because I was like, my phone's gonna die. So we would go in increments and sit in my truck and charge the phones.
yeah, honestly though, like I just realized like Delaware, because the weather's so different, they don't know how to handle like snow
No,
down here.
no.
And the drivers, like if you think they're
People
bad,
driving today were pissing me off.
I saw your post.
People can't drive with the sun out on a normal day. When we add rain to it, I'm like, sorry, if you're driving rants with Rachel here, if you're gonna like go slow in the left lane because you're scared of the rain, get all the way over to that third lane, the shoulder, and park it right there.
Dude, and I saw you post that what was it, a TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, and I was like, that is so
About the
on point.
dinosaurs driving on the road.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so in line with Rachel's brand. I'm like,
That
that
is
is
exactly
like
my
your
feeling.
essence of just like absolutely hating terrible drivers,
Yes.
especially older drivers.
Yes, I literally saw probably 1,000-year-old person trying to merge onto Route One the other day, and like you got to get moving, and she's braking, and we're like, oh shoot, and we're all trying to get around her because she's braking and waiting for like a gap in the cars or something. But I was like, I'm not going to be up in that shenanigans. I look over and she's like,
I
oh
And it's so
god,
hard because it's like there's like some of them are so cute and like you feel like sometimes I feel terrible when I absolutely lose my shit. But then it's like
I'm like,
sometimes
do you know what year it is? Do you know
I'm
what
like,
year it is?
dude, you're
You're
gonna kill
driving.
somebody. Like
Yes,
you're gonna be the reason that I flip my car off of a ravine. Like,
yeah,
and I'm gonna
pass.
like be cussing the shit out of you while I'm flying through the air.
Like take my license at 50. I won't even be like
Uh,
take my license now. Like
well,
I
I think
just
the true
a
goal
driver.
here is to like become so successful in life that by the time you can't drive anymore, you have a driver.
I just need a driver now. That's what I need.
Like,
Like
just get
I
me a
need that now.
chauffeur, a chauffeur,
Yeah.
chauffeur. Chauffeur. How,
What?
chauffeur. I don't know. Who knows? I just had like a Theo Von moment. You know, he
That's all
always
right.
like changes the words. And like you're just like, what? Chauffeur. I don't know what I said. So, anyways,
That's
before
fine.
we get too delusional, before we even
We're
started the
starting off.
podcast,
Are you going to start with a warning tonight?
I'm trying to think of what the warning's gonna be. I feel like that's the problem, is
Just
like
warning.
it's not until like I start to like
Just warning.
slowly
A
like,
general warning.
all right, so general warning, if you're listening, this podcast is completely unpredictable, and the opinions and comments made here are strictly and solely those of Morgan Feza and Morgan Feza Incorporated and the Girlfriend Hour.
The lawyer.
Yeah, I can't be held competent or I don't know what the law lingo is, so I'm just gonna make up my
Sounds
own thing
good.
here.
Sounds good.
Okay, well if it sounds legit, just roll with it. Yeah, so these are my statements and my statements only. They are not affiliated with anybody that I'm affiliated with or any companies that may affiliate with me. I don't really know. If you're thinking about sponsoring me, this does not affiliate to them either. There's no affiliations. This is your warning. It's unhinged. I'm going to say what's on my chest with my chest. So just buckle up.
There it is.
And if you're too soft, you should probably leave
Yes.
because we hurt feelings here.
And there it is. There's the disclaimer.
All right. So now that we got that out of the way, yeah,
Okay.
we were
Second
supposed
thing.
to have what?
Oh, no, go ahead with that. And then I have to do like true crime news, like a little blurb before we get into it here.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. So today, our episode, it kind of has gone a little bit awry, but in true girlfriend hour fashion, as you just saw with my disclaimer, nothing on this podcast ever really goes to plan. So, we were supposed to do a podcast episode with the you know what? I'm gonna keep them secret. I'm gonna hold it as a surprise. We're gonna do a really cool podcast with somebody that I met through Instagram. They're really awesome. They're a paranormal investigator, but they do a lot of like history research and stuff like that. So I'm excited to have them on. Not gonna give you too many details because we'll just surprise you whenever we reschedule that. And there's just been a lot of inclement weather, people losing power. So we decided to change it up and hit you guys with um seemingly normal photos that have disturbing. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a blooper reel is what's going to happen with this. Disturbing backgrounds. So things that kind of happened after the photo, or maybe like some people like looked at the photos and like, oh, this is a foreshadowing. So without further ado, we're going to get into Rachel's true crime news update of the week.
Okay, we haven't been on to talk about it. The last thing we did was ghosts and cryptids and stuff like that. But we haven't talked about how Gypsy Rose Blanchard is out of prison and is now an influencer out in the wild. What do you,
It's been pretty
what
wild,
do you
like
think
watching
about
her videos. I did reach out to her.
that?
I did.
She has probably thousands
I
of true
figured mine was just
podcasts.
like a needle in the
Thousands.
haystack, but like Gypsy Rose, if you hear this, we're trying to have you on, girlfriend. Okay.
I can't even believe it. She just came out of prison, was like, "What's up, guys?" Like, and has this whole now. She's an influencer.
It's crazy. And it's crazy that
Everywhere.
they asked her to leave Missouri because it was
Yeah,
not safe. And I'm like, listen, like I understand like true crime and like being a true crime junkie and like, but like I don't necessarily know that I would like hunt somebody down like that.
yeah.
Like make it unsafe. Like she was so upset about that. Did you see that clip? She was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
I feel
damn.
like because obviously I've never been to prison, so I don't know. When you've been in there for, I think she was
In
in
the
there for 8 years.
clink. You've been in
Yeah,
the clink.
like you just come out and you're just like, hey, here's a phone, here's TikTok, here's Instagram, like, and all these people
Don't
just
let them fool you though, because I
temporarily
see these guys from these like shitty ass jails like
going live on
TikToking.
TikTok. I'm like,
They're
how
like,
is this
here's my pen
happening?
pal ID, here's my commissary number. And I'm like, bro, like, I mean, smart because there are people out there that are probably like loading up that freaking commissary card. But like at the same time, I'm like, you know that like if you get caught, which you will, because I know damn well if you're like these correctional guys, they probably like go on TikTok just to like see these inmates. They're probably like, oh, I know John in cell block 9.
Yeah, I'm just
He's up
like,
on
it was
Facebook
so
on that
crazy.
Tinder.
It was so crazy because I remember like, oh my gosh, like this is in a couple weeks that she's getting out, and then all of a sudden she's everywhere.
Literally. I have
Came
to
out with a
say,
whole husband,
it's
which
crazy. I
is
didn't
like,
realize like she's actually a pretty girl.
yeah,
Like I was like, because you've only ever seen her as like, I feel like no matter how old she was, like you've seen pictures of her from when she was like a young child, and then when she was like 15, and it's like she just looked like a small child, and like she had like no teeth, and I was like, it's crazy. And now she's like, she looks like a
a
grown,
girl.
sophisticated, nice lady. Nice lady. I don't I was like, I don't know how to like maturely say this.
Yeah.
You
But
looking
we
fly.
we hadn't talked about it. And that
I
was,
know.
on the up and up.
I really hope that somehow, maybe some way, I'm gonna manifest this for the podcast. Like I'm gonna think this into existence. Like maybe if I just say Gypsy Rose like 5,000 times a day, she'll appear in my
Just
mirror.
say it into a mirror.
And I'm gonna be like, Gypsy, hear me out. There was no other way that I could contact you. So I needed to summon you to my home. Please get on the podcast.
My God.
And then she's gonna kill me in the mirror, like Bloody Mary. Not just kidding. I feel like because it wouldn't really be Gypsy Rose. I mean, obviously, if you're summoning something there, it would probably haunt my house, and
Yeah.
I jump on the podcast and be like, you
And there
know,
it is. There's
and
our
there it
true
is.
crime
This is
of
the unhinged storm
of
session.
of the things that I was like, we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
So there it is.
I'm interested though, in all seriousness, like all joking aside. I'm excited to like I'm excited kind of like for her. But I do want to say there were some things that people brought up that I thought were interesting. Do you remember what the name of those brothers were
Um,
that
Menendez,
yes, that were like abused by their parents?
yes.
I really
Everyone
do
that's
feel
like, well, what
like
about these? And what about these? And what about these? And it's just like,
I want to delve more into it because I don't want to like automatically jump on like the bandwagon and say, that their case should be revisited. But I do feel like when I was watching that and kind of doing some research on it, like their stuff was really, really heinous.
I'm pretty
And
sure they're a picture. They're at a basketball game in a picture, like after they had just like killed their parents. I'm pretty sure
it's,
they're one of these creepy pictures.
we should have added that one for tonight.
I'm surprised it didn't come up on the list. I'm pretty sure there's a picture of them sitting at a basketball game, like right after.
I'm gonna try and look that up.
Okay, you find that
Um,
one. Want me
yeah,
to start here and you want to click that
yeah,
picture?
yeah. Let's just get into it.
All
So,
right. So this is disturbing stories behind normal photos. And we're going to go on a list of, I think there are 10 of pictures that either seem like, hey, what's up here? Or, there's something like sinister behind these pictures. So let's see what we got coming up first. Here we go. Oh, it lost
oh, why is
my
it showing my
document
whole
here.
screen? I was hoping it would just share. Hold on. Of course, we're gonna have some glitches.
That's fine.
Um,
It's the YOLO evening.
yeah, we're just like rolling with it. Okay, there we go.
All right. So we had done this case a while ago, I think in the beginning. This is Tyler Hadley. He's the one holding the cup at his house party. Just before this party, he had murdered his mother and father with a hammer, hid their bodies in the master bedroom. And during the party, Tyler showed his best friend, Michael Mandel, the room where he killed his parents. He took this photo just because he wasn't sure when he'd see Tyler again. And this is that picture. Like how creepy does he look in this?
He looks absolutely blasted.
Yes.
Like, yeah. And then he just looks like sinister. Again
Mm-hmm.
with the shark eyes. He has those like dead
Yes,
eyes.
just the like dead eyes. That's what it is. I was getting to
It
that.
it's so crazy. Like how somebody can, I don't know, I could never imagine like killing my parents and then like
Hey guys, we're gonna have a party now.
yeah, like I don't know. It's crazy.
And just to like his friend documenting, like, I don't know when I'm going to see this guy again. So let's just take a picture real quick. Like, ooh.
It just like gets me because like I just like when we did that case, I just still can't understand. Like, you're just partying and like you just threw like miscellaneous objects over the dead
Yeah.
bodies in the bedroom. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's brazen, it's bold, it's
Yes. Especially
giving
because like
psychopath.
if I remember, like his parents were like outstanding, like community people. And like, he was mad over like him getting in trouble for dumb stuff. And it's just like, you killed your parents over something dumb.
Yeah, not a good look.
No.
But it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there.
It gets worser.
Yikes.
All right, so on to our
All
next fella.
right. So number 2, we have, this is a picture of First Lady Rosalind Carter in 1978, shaking hands with serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Like, he looks like a normal person in this one, who was active in politics at the time. By that time, he had already killed over 20 young men, and he was wearing an S on his lapel, which was given to him by Secret Service to indicate that he had been given security clearance. So he was, good to go. The picture was even signed to John Gacy, best wishes, Rosalind Carter.
And you know what's so crazy about this? And I'm gonna be like that total like crunchy little hippie that I am. This picture is such like a good versus evil type thing because like
Yeah.
Rosalind Carter was honestly like she was a stand-up gal. Like she was an awesome person in life and like really like paved the way for a lot of things and she was just like good natured. I mean, I didn't know her personally, but from what I've read and some of the things that she's done, I'd say she's a pretty cool person.
Like,
Although
he just
everybody
looks
has
like
skeletons in their
a dad.
closet, as we've learned. So
Yeah.
who knows? But to me, I was like, I think it's funny that one of like the greatest people here is shaking hands with like just an absolutely horrible, heinous
Mm.
person.
And
And
it's
they
just
gave him
like,
security clearance.
yeah, he's like good to go. Special security clearance here. And it's just going back to the fact of things that we always talk about like, how do you just go on with your day and like, up, I just killed a whole bunch of people and let me just go ahead and, shake hands with the first lady and go on about my business. Like, you don't have it going on upstairs.
I'm gonna catch heat from the clown community, but this is why we never
Are you
trust a
in the
clown.
clown community? They come
I'm
after
sure
you.
there is a clown community, and I'm sure we have at least one listener that's a part of it. And
Oh,
I don't want to know who that is because I'm terribly scared of clowns.
yeah.
But this is why you never trust a clown. This is why I have issues with clowns because they look like a respected politician, a respected security officer, and they're a murderer.
Exactly. He was another one that was like upstanding in the community.
Yeah. And look at him now.
Look at you now. Pass.
Shame on you and your family. Or wait, what does that little dragon from Mulan say? Shame on you and your ancestors. I don't know, but shame,
Oh,
shame,
the
shame.
dishonor.
Oh yeah, dishonor on your family. Coming in clutch. I forgot. I was like, I was not really a huge Mulan fan, but I liked
Oh, it's
Mushu.
it's close, yeah.
So next, on to our next disturbing photo.
It's just
Doesn't
a
look disturbing.
yeah, this is just somebody's family photo, but
Can I
this
just
is
say before you tell the story that I thought that that was a small puppy in his hands? I legitimately thought it was like a little, what are those little frou frou dogs? It's like the cute little white. Oh, I'm blanking.
what, like a Pomeranian?
No, they're like oh, Bichon. I thought it was like a little Bichon. And then I was like, "Oh, that's a baby." And I'm like, "Why does that baby look photoshopped into his hands?" This is just my initial thoughts. Initial Morgan thoughts. Hashtag, hence the
And
warning.
of course, the theme of this episode, pictures aren't what they seem. This is serial killer John Edward Robinson. He's in the yellow sweater, holding baby Tiffany Stassi, whose mother he had murdered the day before. He later gave baby Tiffany to his brother, saying that she was adopted. His brother, along with Tiffany, didn't find out the truth for 15 years.
You
One Only 8 of his victims had been identified, and he's been on death row since 2000.
I just want to make it clear I was not laughing at the heinous crimes. I was laughing that you said mutter
Mutter.
because we're both like just absolutely fumbling our words tonight. I was like
Oh,
trying to take you
mutter.
seriously, and then you were like,
It
you're
happened.
like, who's mutter? He murdered the day before. I couldn't hold it in.
Yikes.
I was
It's
like, no,
fine.
that seems legit. But yeah, that's terrible. I mean, that's a crazy because they look like such a happy family.
This just looks like somebody's normal family picture.
But honestly, though, okay, so true crime kind of topic related, I would say like what's crazy, and I think that it's becoming like a common theme in a lot of the things that we talk about. Do you ever notice how like the happiest families or the happiest couples or like all these like very like picturesque things that are posted online or like in pictures and all of that, they always seem to be the ones that end up like
Mm-hmm.
there's just like layers and layers of just terrible things behind like the true crime after it comes out. Like, why am I blanking so bad tonight? Shanann Watts,
Ugh.
that
Ugh.
case that was terrible. But again,
Absolutely
everybody was like on
disturbing.
social media, they look so happy and the videos. And then there's like Lacey Ann Peterson,
That guy is a
right?
loser.
Like
He's a
there's so
loser. I
many, they were like, oh, they were so happy. And and then you look at this family, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like it's a nice looking family with that beautiful Bichon Frise, you know? I'm just kidding. That beautiful baby.
also
Rachel.
identify as a dog. I can't. This is the night we get canceled.
Oh my gosh. No, but seriously, that is a beautiful baby. I just there was a lot of like frou-frouing, like frills and stuff going on, so I just it was blurry. They didn't have I think
Fine.
in they didn't
He's
have
dog, it's fine.
the pixels at the time weren't
No.
as high quality as we have them today in 2024. I think anybody would mistake that for a small,
Exactly.
yeah. So onward and upward.
Next, we have Station Nightclub in Rhode Island. This was taken at the Station nightclub during the Great Whites performance before it caught on fire by fireworks, leaving 100 people dead. There weren't any sprinklers, so the fire spread in less than 5 minutes. It was the 4th deadliest nightclub fire in US history.
This is really scary. And the fact that they didn't have any like fire like
And why are we doing fireworks
precautions.
outside? Like, look at that.
Yeah, that's like a big venue thing for you to do like those sparklers.
Exactly. That looks like it's almost to the ceiling.
Like that's like setting off like a full-on mortar firework and then asking why the ceiling caught on fire. Like there's no
Yeah.
room for that to spray. And I like
Yeah.
looked at additional photos because like I wanted to like understand like how big this place was. It was not big at all. I just don't, yeah, I don't
I don't like
understand.
crazy tight places with a lot of people. I don't
When
like that.
do we know what year that took place? I
Mm,
think it was like 2000s.
mm-mm. I didn't say.
Um, but I mean, I was gonna say because I was like, I feel like then they were a little bit more risque,
They
you
said, let's
know?
shoot fireworks off in this place.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah, that's just was not safe. Was not safe at all. I don't know. I don't know who on the marketing team said that was a good idea, but or whoever that be
Who
the
got
marketing
that
team or
idea?
that be like the stage. Either way, whoever ordered
Not
that,
safe.
not a good
Not.
choice.
Oh my gosh, this one is so spooky.
This one's very spooky.
I cannot. So this is um from a show in the 1970s, The Dating Game. There was a woman, Cheryl Bradshaw, and the man in the circle is Rodney Alcala. And at the time of his appearance, I almost said performance, Jesus, appearance, Rodney was in the middle of a murder spree. He committed 5 murders between 1977 and 1979, where he would torment his victims by strangling them to unconsciousness, allowing them to regain consciousness, and then repeating the process again and again and again before killing them. Like, What? There is definitely something wrong with your brain. He
Yeah.
was described as a killing machine. His exact murder count was unknown, but he was caught and convicted for 7 murders. So he appeared on the dating game as a successful photographer who got his start when his father found him in the darkroom at the age of 13. Between takes, you might find him skydiving or motorcycling. He won the date with Bachelorette Cheryl Bradshaw. She, however, refused to go on a date with him, calling him creepy. He would later go on and murder 3 additional women after his appearance, some speculating that the rejection was the driving factor. And wouldn't you think you were the luckiest woman in the whole world if you found out that this guy, like, first of all, obviously not in the back in the day, they weren't doing these little background checks. Like, he
Yeah.
just on there.
We're doing a really good job at making sure
Like,
that
how do you know back then they were just like, oh yeah, cool. Yep, they're yep.
this is the picture that was supposed to be up.
That's all right.
And clearly, I don't, I feel like I see worse with my glasses on because, like, I have my glasses on and I'm like, why did I think those 2 gentlemen were a lady? I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with the baby. I just can't see today. I thought the baby was a Bichon. I thought the 2 men were a lady. I don't know what's
All
happening.
right. We made it work.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't. You ever like notice the 70s? I feel like from the 70s, maybe even 60s, like late 60s to like the late 80s, there was a lot of like creepy, like
Mhm.
I want to say like
It was all the like
creepy
popular
men. Yeah, I
serial
was like
killers,
trying to figure out how to say that. Like,
all of the ones that were like on the map, you know.
yeah, like creepy, like just like night stalkery guys.
Yes.
And like bad dating stories. Like you hear these stories about people that escaped serial killers, and they're like, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I went on a date on with this. I went on a date with this guy once, and he just gave me a weird vibe. So I went home afterwards, and I just decided not to see him again. And they find out like 10 years later, they're like, "Oh, that was Ted Bundy."
Yep. I just heard a story about him that he showed up at a high school in, I don't even remember where he was, Utah, something like
Uh-huh.
that. I don't even remember. And he was trying to pick up this girl, and she's like, I have to go get my brother. And he's like, and she was talking about how it was her grandma's friend or something was the girl in the story. And she was like, yeah, he did his little ruse of like, I need help with my car. And she's like, I don't know how to fix a car. And she just continued on. And then the next couple of days he had gotten somebody else. And she was like, that was the guy that was trying to help me fix his car.
Oh, see, that's what
Wild.
I'm saying. I don't know. It was a time. It was a time. I don't know if it's just
Yes.
because like bad things like didn't really happen that often like before that. Like I feel like things were relatively like Pleasantville-ish and very Stepford wivey, but then it was like
Oh man.
somebody, it's like that TikTok, it was like you can wake up and do anything today, like murder, like that's what it and then somebody just decided, hey, we're gonna tip the domino over and start the chain reaction. And then I just felt like there was just like all of these stories that we talk about, they're all from like similar time periods. Like they're just, and I'm like, what were y'all doing? Like, why were you guys hitchhiking or getting in cars with strangers or like
Exactly.
drinking drinks that you've put down for like 30 minutes? Like, just, yeah. Recipe for true
Fucking
crime.
ruined here. Let's
Yeah.
be more
So
cautious now, friends.
you got to be safe. Like the in the wise words of Rachel Sweatshirt that one day. Oh my God, I love how you got scared for a second. You're like, what is she gonna say?
Like, oh no.
No, in the wise words of Rachel Sweatshirt, it was like rather be a what was
A
it?
rude bitch than
A
a
rude
dead
bitch,
bitch.
a rude bitch than a dead bitch. Yes. My favorite sweatshirt.
That's my fave.
Yes. Because it's
It's
on
true
point.
though.
It's true. Don't light up a room. When you walk
No, I
in, be the
want to light up
meanest
the
mugging
room.
bitch in that place. Do not smile at anybody. Do not be this like kind, endearing, empathetic person because you will end
Nobody
up in
wants
a
to meet
ditch.
one.
Yeah. This is your girlfriend advice, your life hack, tip, whatever you want to call it. Better a rude bitch than a dead bitch.
There it is.
Interpret that how you will.
All right, let's hear it.
My house is gonna blow down. All right, so our next up on the photo list, This one is actually like really sad. It was called The Dutch Hikers of Panana, Panununu. I don't know. But it's these two young women were basically posing for a selfie in front of wild nature in Panama. The two girls are Chris Kremers. Oh Lord, I can't talk today. Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, Dutch travelers who were hiking the Pianista Trail, and they set off for their hike on April 1st at 11 a.m. Unfortunately, on the 2nd, they did not turn up for an appointment, and the parents of the girls stopped receiving the daily texts that they had been getting in the past. On April 6th, the parents arrived in, I feel like I don't like
Repeat,
this,
Panama.
Panana, along with full police search. The forest would be combed for 10 days and nothing was found. This is like honestly the part that really got me because like I just feel like missing persons cases, they freak me out because you never know what you're going to find. So 10 weeks later, a woman handed in a blue backpack. The backpack belonged to Froon, and inside were personal belongings, including a camera and their phones. The phones had evidence of emergency numbers having been dialed only hours after the girls started their hike. But due to lack of receptions, the call did not connect. Froon's phone died on April 4th, and Kremer's phone would be turned on intermittently between the 5th and the 11th, but the incorrect pin was entered or no pin was entered each time. So like somebody was trying to like get in this phone that was not them, which is like so creepy to me. And it said on the camera 90 flash photos were taken between 1 and 4 a.m. in complete darkness, like deep within the jungle. I'm telling you, this part freaked me out. And it said one disturbing image shows the back of Kremer's head with blood on her hair. So, and then this is really this, it's just terrible. So it says 2 months after the backpack was discovered, a pelvis and a foot inside a boot were discovered along with other remains. These were later DNA tested and confirmed to belong to Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon. What happened to them remains a mystery today. So this was not solved, which is just even spookier. And
See,
I have
that's
to
just
say,
a missing person, and you never know what happens, which just like kills me.
well, and so this freaks me out because after we talked to Jen about all the cryptid stuff and learning more about the missing 411 people and the possible cannibals that are living within the mountains, I mean, truthfully, like people are like, "Oh, I feel like it's like contained to this region or this region." I think I'm just a firm believer that like if you've discovered it in one region, just expect it to be other places and we just haven't discovered it yet. So like it kind of makes me think like it didn't seem like whoever was kind of like playing with this phone knew what they were doing because it said sometimes like the incorrect pin was entered or no pin was entered. And like I guess my brain after learning about cryptids and all this stuff, like, do you think maybe it was one of the mountain cannibals? Do you think it was Bigfoot and his fingers were just too big for the buttons? Like, I'm just curious.
Tell me why after that episode I called Peach Pukwudgie all week.
It's a fun word. It's a fun word, but they are not fun creatures. Nightmares.
All
But
week.
yeah, I don't know. This freaks me out. But again, it's one of those, it's a forest story, and it's just another reason why I
The
think I'm just
forest.
done with camping.
Yep,
I've
nothing.
just yeah, I used to love we used to camp in the Pine Barrens when I was younger. I loved it. And yeah, I like looked forward to it. And as I'm older now, I'm like, oh boy. No. I know way too much. It's ruined me. But onward and upward to number 7.
I don't know
Going to
upward,
butcher
but
this word. It's the I think it's the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. So the picture that you see here, this picture was taken of a group of survivors of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crash in the Andes. They were eventually saved, but they did have to resort to cannibalism to survive. And this isn't the first instance of a plane crash where this has happened because if you're somebody that enjoys like true stories that have been turned into shows. Yellow Jackets. There's another one coming out, and I don't know. I wanted to search it up, but I didn't have time before this. When I was reading the story, I was like, "Oh, this sounds like that new." There's like I don't know if it's a movie coming out or if that's a show, but there was they basically like show you like the plane crash as it happened. Like there's like a plane crash scene and it was related to a true story. And they like show you like people's bones breaking and the way a plane detaches and all these crazy things. And I was like, was this based on the same thing? But kind of getting back to it, they had to resort to cannibalism to survive. They're all smiling in the photo, but it becomes eerie when you see the human spine to the right of them in the picture,
Zoom in. I can't see.
which I didn't
Zoom
even
in.
notice until um I don't know how to zoom in. I'm technically like,
Grandma.
all right, hold on. I think I can figure this out. Yeah, here we go. So right there. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It I think this is what they're talking about, but it looks like it. So yeah, so
I
I
could
mean
not.
that apparently is a human spine. So they were stranded for 72 days and eventually 16 survivors were rescued. The wildest part is that they were only 18 miles away from a hotel, but they hiked in a different direction to look for help. So
Oh
I think
gosh.
that's like what makes it the worst. Like when I got to that part, it was like the sentence that changed the whole thing for me. Like I was like, imagine resorting to cannibalism because you're thinking like you are in the thick of like the woods and there's no help, there's no like resources, and you have to do this only to find out that you were literally 18 miles away from a hotel and you just went in the wrong direction. That's crazy to me.
Absolutely wild.
So, yeah, so there's that. And I guess I'm sorry for the human spine. I probably should have done a warning for that because it's a little
Warning.
you're gonna get your Morgan warning now. I'm sorry that it's already happened.
Did your warning at the beginning, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
All right. So number 8, I gotta zoom in on this one a little bit. Glad we learned how to do that. Um, so this is number 8, Franklin Delano Floyd and Suzanne Marie Savakis. So this is like a family picture. I don't really like calling it that. Um, it actually it's that's not his little girl. So the little girl is Floyd's stepdaughter, Suzanne Marie Savakis, who he kidnapped, let that sink in, around 1974 when Suzanne was under 10 years old. He would go on to raise her as his daughter, basically putting her through high school under several pseudonyms, had a son with her in 1988, and marry her in 1989 under the name Tanya Hughes. Yeah, it's weird. And by 1990, Suzanne, this is where it gets crazy. This is where I was like, plot twist, this is terrifying. So by 1990, Suzanne had decided to leave Floyd and take her son, Michael, with her. And in April of that year that she left, she was found beaten and bruised on the side of a highway, and she did succumb to her injuries in the hospital. Michael then went into foster care and was adopted, only to be kidnapped by Floyd in 1994 and was never seen again.
Oh my
So
God.
this dude literally kidnapped his stepdaughter, then raised her, had a son with her, killed her. Then her son was placed into like foster home to be kidnapped by him, and then they just disappeared off the face of the earth without a trace, which is wild. Again,
Oh,
this is what's crazy about these pictures because like you're looking at it, you're like, all right, it's not like the cutest family photo, but like you're like, it's a photo. And then like you learn the background behind it, and like it's just like crazier, crazier, crazier. Is that Peach?
my God. No, it was the blanket falling off the back.
I was like, hey Paige. Um, but so that one was pretty crazy. Um, I couldn't get past the part where like she escaped and like was trying to like I guess make a better life for her and her son, only for her son to be like brought back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so number 9.
One
This
is
one was so terrible.
yeah.
So As you can see here, this is Jolie Callan. She is our number 9 picture. She's enjoying a hike here. You can see her taking a picture, living her best life. Dressed in an oversized red shirt, 18-year-old Jolie Callan stands on top of a sheer cliff face and takes a photo of the beautiful view below of Pinhoti Trail in Chehaw State Park in Delta, Alabama. She had just hiked to the scenic location with her ex-boyfriend, Loren Bunner, age 20. Moments after this photo was taken, Loren would shoot her in the head twice with a 22 caliber Ruger Bearcat revolver and throw her body off of the cliff. He would later call the police and say that he killed his ex-girlfriend, turning himself in. The pair had dated for 10 months before Jolie broke up with Loren, as he was controlling and did not allow her to meet with her friends. Despite the breakup, they kept in regular contact. They even had a dog together. 2 months after the breakup, Loren invited Jolie on a hike where he would end up murdering her. So he was sentenced to 52 years in prison for his crimes.
That
But it's
one's yeah.
sad because like she's over here like what a breathtaking view, and has no idea. And he's
That's
taking this picture
never
of
go on a
her.
never go on a hike with your ex-boyfriend.
No,
That's the
that's
next
that's
t-shirt.
I feel
No
like we
way.
need to make a girlfriend hour, like tips and tricks for true crime,
Never go on a
because
hike with
like
your
yeah,
past.
that's a cardinal rule, because I just feel like too many things could go wrong. Like you could disappear so easily, and there's so many, like, I don't know, it's
How
just not
close
safe.
she is. She is so close.
Well, and the
On
part that just freaks
a
me out the more that I like look at the picture, because like once you know the backstory, you start to kind of dissect everything. And I'm like, she's standing there probably having such a peaceful moment, like taking a picture, like, wow, this is so beautiful. Has no idea that he's taking a picture of her taking a picture. And you're like, why did you take a picture of her like that? And you just are gonna kill her. Like that's so eerie to me. Like that's so like psychopathic. Like it's just, I don't know. It's grimy. I don't like it. It's creepy. Um,
prison for 52 years.
but yeah, I honestly sometimes I get mad when it's like under 100 years, because I'm like, if it's
Correct.
murder, like unless like I can understand like if it was like something unintentional, like if it was like a car accident, or like there's circumstances where there are like it's an accident and like that person doesn't have like a mean bone in their body and they didn't intend for it. But like if you raise a gun to somebody or you stab somebody, like you put the
Forever.
effort in to end somebody's life,
Yep.
100 years plus, or
You're gone. We're
or
done.
death. Yeah,
We don't need you out here.
no. So I just feel like, I don't know, 52 years for me, I feel like that's a slap in the face to her family. Anyways, so we're gonna move on to number 10. This one was crazy, and I'm gonna give a little trigger warning. It does have a dead body in the picture.
Don't go in the
Um,
ocean.
yeah,
Tip top of the pool.
this one was pretty awful. So this is the case of Tina Watson. So two divers basically are posing for a photo while they're scuba diving off of beautiful Queensland coast. Behind them, a stiff, prone figure lays on the ocean floor. This would later be discovered to be Tina Watson, who was murdered by her husband. Tina Watson was visiting Queensland with her husband Gabe for their honeymoon, and on the day of her death, they decided to dive into the popular and challenging wreck of the SS Yongala. The two were underqualified for such a dive, and the dive company suggested a guided dive for the expedition, which they refused. During the dive, Tina ran into trouble and sunk nearly 100 feet to the ocean floor. Gabe claimed to have tried to save his wife, but due to an ear problem, he said he could not dive deep enough to help her. When she was brought aboard, she was pronounced dead after 40 minutes of CPR. Due to contradictory statements issued by Gabe and the fact that before their marriage, Gabe asked Tina to increase her life insurance and make him the sole
Red flag.
beneficiary, foul play was suspected. He was charged with manslaughter charges in Queensland, but later had his charges dismissed when he was charged in his home country of the United States related to the planning of the murder. Which I
Oh
was
my
trying to
God.
get more like information on this one, because I wanted to know like how did this play out? Like what were the like what did he plan? Like what did they find? Because like I want to know like what were the circumstances of the death. So
Exactly.
this is the picture. Oh, of course. Hold on. Okay. Well, it was a picture. I don't know. But um there's like a picture of the couple and like they look relatively happy. Um but like I want to know more about like what he did. Like did he disconnect her like hose? Did he like I don't know.
Don't go in the ocean.
Yeah. And apparently like in one thing that they did say that her husband was an experienced diver with search and rescue qualification, which is why
But now
like
you can go down because of your ear.
yeah. So they said that he was experienced, even though they said like they didn't have the experience. Like I think there was more her. Um, but he basically said that like she was struggling and he just made the decision it was like either me or her, which is
Ew.
really sad. Yeah, I know. That's not the kind of husband energy we want.
Pass.
Um, yeah, it's terrible. I don't know. I'm gonna look up really quick his I want to see what he was served. So Watson was served only a 4-year sentence,
Four
which
years?
could be suspended after he served 12 months. And they said the 23 days he already spent in custody will also be deducted from his sentence.
You're joking.
And you know what's crazy? It says Watson, who was remarried to a woman, bears a striking Watson, who has remarried to a woman, bears a striking resemblance to his former wife.
Mm. Red flag.
Yeah. Yep. This is checking all the boxes, ladies and gents. I
That's
don't
it.
know. That's creepy. But yeah, so that's our number 10. That's our number 10. And just so you guys know, for number 10, he did not get any of that insurance money. Um whatever insurance money there was that she doubled up on went right to her dad.
I feel like life insurance is like the biggest red flag in anything.
But my thing that gets me is that people are still doing this shit. Do you know how crazy thorough insurance companies are when it comes to like insurance money?
Probably very thorough.
They're very thorough. And like one of the things it's crazy. So I wish I could get in touch with I had a friend who worked for a life insurance company
We're
and the
looking for anyone that
stories
can tell us about life insurance. You're gonna be
it's
our next
more
guest.
it's more because like I was talking to her the one day and we were like catching up and I was like she's telling me all these crazy things because I was like talking to her about I don't even remember I think it was like we were in college and we were talking about like maybe true crime stuff and I was like because she had told me what she was doing and I said oh like jokingly I was like you must see like a lot of like true crime and she's like no like I'm not kidding like she's like I had some crazy like people that she basically was saying she had one guy that he didn't succeed, he attempted to kill his wife. And she basically upped her insurance policy to like $1.5 million. And like this wasn't a red flag to her. And like he tried to kill her and did not succeed. And like was trying to like basically they to protect her, if I remember the story correctly, they tried to keep her like the fact that he didn't succeed. And so he's like boo hooing, and they're like, oh, yeah, she's dead, and all this stuff. And he called them literally the day after and was like, hey, my wife died. I need to. And like, she was like, hey, El Stupido, like, why would you think
Oh
that,
my
like,
God.
yeah,
That's like my favorite case with the girl and the hitman. We'll have to do that
yeah.
one too.
But like,
Where
this is
they
the real
staged
stuff
that
that
whole
people
thing.
do. And she was like, well, we need like, and she's like, what people don't realize, like, we need a death certificate. Like, you don't
Bro.
get money until like everything is over, like everything is done, and like you're like we have like a death certificate. You need to provide like an autopsy report. If it wasn't natural causes, like you need to, like if there was foul play or anything like that involved, because they won't pay out certain things if there was any kind of suspect or if it's an ongoing investigation, or like, so it's crazy. And like they think that like it's just like you just kill people and it's like, all right, let me just pick up
All
my
right, give me
check.
my money now.
It's like that's not how this works. I don't know. I don't
Well, that's how these
understand.
people think it works. They're like, yeah, here's your suitcase full of cash. Like,
I swear to God, I really think that they think that like they just walk into an insurance office and they just are like, oh, here's
oh,
two
here you
hundred and
go.
fifty thousand dollars.
Ew.
Don't spend it all in one place. Like, what? I don't
Seriously, if
know.
there's any life insurance people listening or anyone that has to deal with like any crazy professions,
I want to
let
hear it. I want to
I
hear it.
want to.
I'm gonna honestly see if I can find that friend from college, because we had some interesting. She told me other stories, and I can't. My Dory brain is just not recollecting right now. But like, I remember there was another one involved an elderly lady, and it was crazy. I just remember she was telling me stuff, and I was like, "How?" Like, I don't know why I never thought. Like, I'm like, obviously, there's people that have to process these things, and they get the calls, and they have people come in, and like, I think one of them too was somebody like they didn't actually try to like murder the spouse. I'm trying to think. It wasn't like they didn't try to murder the spouse. It was like they went and they were alarmingly trying to like up the insurance policy on their spouse. And like they were doing something, they were like, well, we need dual consent on this. And like they tried to forge like documents. And then the insurance company, she said something like her supervisor or something like called the lady and was like, hey, we just want you to know this is going on. You should probably like, you
Oh my
know, like kind of
God.
looking out for her. And we're like, hey,
Hey, wait,
little
oh,
sketch,
now?
little suspect. You should probably check into this. Have you and your husband been fighting?
Yeah, you might want
Like,
to go to
but
the
apparently, yeah, but apparently they're pretty thorough. So, I mean, if there is any potential killers listening to this podcast, don't be stupid. Please don't like just
How did
don't
I
do
know
it.
where that was going?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say just don't be stupid.
Don't be murdering people. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Just don't be stupid. Like just be a normal human being and just don't be stupid.
There it is. Moral of the
Yeah.
story.
So that's it. That's our that's our quick 10 normal but disturbing photos.
Hmm.
And we didn't lose power.
Nope.
Knock on
And you're
wood.
gonna post the pictures somewhere.
Yeah.
Something.
So we're gonna
Thing.
post these pictures for you guys on Instagram and our Facebook page. And then we're also when we post this up to YouTube, if you want to watch the full thing with the pictures, go to our YouTube, same thing, the Girlfriend Hour podcast. We'll pop right up. We have other videos there. But yeah, if we have any listeners that are life insurance agents, if you guys have any creepy stories that you want to write into us about,
Please, I want to hear crazy stories from
I
people.
know I'm like trying so hard to
Nobody
get
wants to
listener
hear a crazy
write-ins.
story.
I think we just need to like do
Everyone has a story.
like a Reddit forum or something.
Everyone
Like
has a crazy story.
everybody does.
Like dig
Like
deep, dig deep.
I'm like I just told you guys a story from somebody that I met in college. Like there's
Exactly. Just a whole
never
episode of weird, crazy real life stories.
seriously. So if you guys want to
I'll be
write
on it.
in, it's the girlfriendhourpod@gmail.com. We do have something exciting coming up at the end of the month. Just little updates for you guys. We're gonna have Father Vincent Lampert, which I'm really excited about. So I was introduced to him through Gary Thomas, who is who the movie The Right was made about. And unfortunately, he is working in a different, I don't know the proper name for it, but just in a different category within the church. So he was like, you have to talk to Father Vincent. He's really awesome. So we're gonna have him on to talk
Cool
about,
people.
huh?
You know all these cool people.
It's just like, yeah, but you know what? We have like, I feel like this is the fun part of the job. You get to like just reach out to people. Just shoot your shot. If you needed a hint, just
Gross.
shoot your shot. Finger guns. So shoot your shot, ask people to get on the podcast, and you never know, what's the worst thing can say? No. So we're gonna have him on, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about his time as the basically like the exorcist for Indiana. And if there's one thing that I've learned, I've heard some really crazy stories from Father or Bishop James Long. There's so many names. I'm like the titles, I'm trying to get them straight. But yeah, so Bishop James Long, he told me some really, really spooky stories and his experiences for exorcisms and cases that he's been on. So I can only imagine um what Father Vincent Lampert. I said Lincent. I'm telling you, I'm losing it today. So yeah, so that's it. Look forward to that, and we're gonna reschedule with our guest that was supposed to be on today. And then we're working on some other cool stuff, and then maybe who knows? We're like I said, we're gonna manifest it for the Girlfriend Hour. Maybe Gypsy Rose might come on.
That's her big to do.
Well, yeah, we're gonna keep we're gonna hope that she comes through. Come on through, slide
Don't let
into
me
the
know the hour
DMs.
before, okay? Just don't let me
Yeah,
know the hour before so we're prepared.
I know. I'm literally
Gonna drop it on me, be like, hey, guess what? So we're gonna do podcast tonight, and we're gonna skip that, and we're gonna talk to Gypsy.
I'm like so bad with scheduling. I'm like, I gotta get better at this. But
All right.
I will definitely, if Gypsy Rose decides to come on, I will be way prepared. I think that'll be the thing that knocks me out of my chair and like gives me a stroke if like she agrees to come on. I feel like we'd have a good time as schools. We'd have a
Oh,
lot to talk about. So yeah. Well, I guess it's about that time, Rachel. You want to lead
all
it?
right. Yep. And as always, remember, let's
Let's
get
get weird. Look, and even Rachel did a little wink. You couldn't see it, but she done did it.
I know.
Well, have a good night, everybody. Hopefully your power stays on and we get through this rough weather. But we'll catch you on the flip side. We'll catch you in the afterlife.
So spooky.
Oh, my wire. Bye.